You know how on this channel we have focused on like 1 year specifically for a couple of different things. We'll probably expand that in the future, but for now we've been doing videos on like 5 great albums from that year and then a follow-up video with 5 great singles from that year. So today I'm going to handle 5 great albums from 1992. 1992 is one of those years that I'm certain everyone watching this video is probably going to have 5 different albums that they love from that year than I do. And this is not a countdown video. This isn't my favorite 5 albums from 1992. Honestly, when I thought of doing this topic, I just said, okay, well, I'm going to do the first 5 that come to mind. So that's the ones that I'm going to share today. The first album, for whatever reason, when anybody mentions the year 1992, the very first album that flies into my head is Alice in Chains' Dirt. It's a masterpiece. It's my favorite Alice in Chains record, and to me, it's everything they do right all in one place. Wood, Them Bones, Angry Chair, Rooster. I mean, it just goes on. Like the whole, it's one of those records, and it's so well sequenced that you can put it on, and you just everything flows one after the other. It's one of the reasons why I can't really listen to like Chains hits packages, because this album flows so well together that it's hard for me to hear the songs in any other order at all. The second record that pops into my head when I think of 1992 is the Rage Against the Machine self-titled debut. For that particular one, I had never even heard of Rage, and I had a friend of mine come by where I was working in 1992. He says, hey, can you get out of work early? I want to go see Rage Against the Machine at the Michigan State Fairgrounds. And I was like, what is a Rage Against the Machine? So I hadn't even heard the band, and my first exposure to them was seeing them on their debut tour, on their debut album tour at the Michigan State Fairgrounds. So as you might imagine, I couldn't get to Sound Warehouse fast enough the next day to buy that record. And again, I mean, right from the top with Bomb Track all the way through to Freedom, of course, Killing in the Name of, enormous. It's such a progression from what we had seen. Like for me, my track record with Rop Rack began with Walk This Way, and then on through Faith No More, and then Rage Against the Machine just took everything everyone was doing before and made it even more aggressive. The next one that I think of when it comes to 1992 is not even my favorite album by this band, but people really, really like the sophomore effort from the Black Crowes, the Southern Harmony and the Musical Companion. Again, I don't dislike this album at all, but it is a fantastic entry from 1992. It just happens to not be my favorite Black Crowes record, but it is a gargantuan step forward from their debut. There are some amazing songs on there, like My Morning Song, Thorn in My Pride, of course, Remedy, Sting Me. It's a fantastic LP, and it really is one of the best of that year. And for me, like I said, I think it's an enormous step forward. So not only is it a great album from 1992, it's one hell of an album to have be your sophomore effort. The next one is one that I think blew up an entire genre, a subgenre rather, West Coast rap. Dr. Dre, The Chronic. There had been some West Coast things bubbling underneath the surface for a while, and certainly rap had gained. I don't mean to say this broke rap into the mainstream. Rap had already been mainstream, but that whole West Coast style of rap that would really go on to have a grip on most of the early 90s up until there were other territories finally getting into the battle. It all kicked off with The Chronic from 1992, and it's just such a gargantuan record. Almost anybody who's ever owned it can could recite the lyrics to the whole album backwards, and everybody who loves that album has a deep-rooted memory all through the 90s, but certainly in the summer of 92, blasting that record. The last one that comes to mind for me when I think of 92, I think it's probably one that comes to mind last for a lot of other people, but I think it's a criminally underrated album, and that's what many people call the Love Symbol album from Prince. Prince fans, yes, I'm aware the album doesn't have a title, and there's no pronunciation for the symbol. The symbol is the title of the album, and it gets misconstrued because a lot of people think that Prince had already changed his name to the symbol. That's not correct. The album is by Prince and the New Power Generation, but the name of the album is the symbol. but it's a really, really strong album with like, I don't know, 7 different genres on it. To me, it's a fantastic follow-up to Diamonds and Pearls. But if you didn't like Diamonds and Pearls, this album, in my opinion, could have been called more Diamonds and Pearls. So there's not going to be, it's going to be a continuation of something you didn't already like. I love Diamonds and Pearls. So things like My Name is Prince, Sexy MF, The Continents, or The Continental, rather, 3 Chains of Gold, 7. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's just a fantastic record. There's really not anything on it I don't like. I like even like the vignettes with Kirstie Alley throughout the entire record. I think it's a much stronger Prince album than it gets credit for. Like I said at the top of the video, though, I know this is a year where if you're watching this, most of the people watching this, every album I've said, maybe except for something like Rage or The Chronic, you've probably been like, oh my, I wouldn't even pick that. I would have said this, which is great. That's a great problem to have. So like we always say on the channel, please make sure to drop a comment. I'm sure every album you list, I'm going to be like, yes, I totally agree with that. And here's why. But I'd love to have a discussion with you over albums you love from 1992. If you would please drop a like on the video, that helps us out. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.